And the time is now 6 minutes past 10 o'clock. At this time of my program, it is time for me to introduce to you my mystery DJ. And I'd like to introduce to you this morning Mark. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Gloria. How are you?
I'm well. Mark, how would you like me to introduce you? Mark DePina? Mark DePina.
Now, I write under the name Dip on Facebook. So.
Now, Mark, I think you've actually been on air once before, just very briefly.
Yeah, I had a friend, your other fellow compatriot, I think it was Rob McCubbin, gave
That's
me
correct.
10 minutes last week, which was great.
Okay. Now, tell the people a little bit about what you do.
Well, about 3 years ago, I discovered Facebook, which was an avenue for me to enjoy writing and commenting, and I started to comment in rhyme, and I enjoyed to write in rhyme, and then from then on I started to write little ditties, and that moved on to writing some poems, and some 1,200 poems later, and 3 years down the track, I put together a little book called Poems from the Heart. This book is purely the poems that was sort of romantic, and with Gloria's little session here of reminiscence and love, I thought it was quite apt that I'd picked these poems that from the book to give you an example of what I've been writing. I'm hoping to put out 4 books, actually. This is the one of 4.
So which number's this book?
This is just the first book. This is my guinea pig book, just to get a bit of credibility to see whether people like my work.
Called Poems from the Heart. Now, you're a local boy?
Born and bred in the Shire. Right. I grew up in Lillipilly,
yes.
And I moved to Woolooware, so
okay.
I'm a bit of a hobbit. I hardly ever have to go over the bridge, really, and that's the Tarrant Point Bridge, actually.
Tarrant Point Bridge. All right. Now, I've had a look at some of your poetry because you put it into this beautiful book, and I just think it's wonderful the way you've put it together with the colour scheme and the pictures in this book. Now, okay, you've got a whole range of different poems. So, would you like to select the poem I think you want to read out first?
Okay, just to give you a bit of an insight into the formula I've used, I've actually was inspired by photos on Facebook,
right?
Shared photos, and I just get an idea to write a poem about them. And a lot of the book is actually based on photos, and they're actually in the book. And I have a friend from work who actually inlaid the poem into the photo. And so in this formula there's 30 picture poems which had the pictures that inspired me to write, and on the other back side of the page was 2 of the word poems. So there's 90 poems in the book, and this one is basically based on poems from the heart regarding romantic style poems and stuff like that, which
it's interesting because you just said before you reckon you haven't got a romantic bone in your body.
No, and my wife can attest to that.
I find that very hard to believe.
But I just find it easy to write from the heart, and I enjoy it, and a lot of people have enjoyed it on Facebook, and I've really been inspired to write more when they give you that such encouragement.
Absolutely. Would you like to recite for us the poem that you want to start with?
Well, I haven't actually read this one before, and it's one I've written. When I wrote the book, my wife didn't want having much to do with the book. She wasn't really that excited to see me have hers in print, so I deliberately put her first picture was my wife at 23. It's a photo I've always cherished. It was a photo from a slide, and I actually had it made into a JPEG, and I've actually put it in the book, and I've written a poem, and I actually surprised her with it. So I'll read hers first, and then as it's the first poem in the book.
Okay, all right, that sounds lovely.
Okay, so it goes like this. Don't think there'll ever be another girl like you. Don't think I'll ever see a woman as good as you. Don't think you can comprehend just exactly how I feel. Don't think you really understand this love that I reveal. I should show you 1,000 pictures, but there is only one that really matters in my life, and that's the picture I have of you. Lovers come and lovers go, and I know this much is true. The love I really want the most is the one who knows how to keep me happy and content, that makes me reciprocate, and that person will always be you, I'll always appreciate. A picture tells 1,000 words, and I know this much is true, that there are only 3 words I need to say, and that is, I love you.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And of course, for you to write those words, and of course you say them with the genuine feeling. And if there's no romance in that, well, then I don't know what romance is. It's there. It's definitely there. And that's a beautiful poem to my wife. And has she? Have you read it to her?
Well, yeah, she sort of had a bit of a chuckle. She just still can't believe that I'd actually written it. So I said, yeah, I had a go. And the actual poem is actually the first book, as I said, the first one in the book. The last one in the book is a tribute to my father. He died at 92, which is about 3 years ago. It's a picture of him at 68. He actually brick veneered the house. He's an amazing guy, a very strong sort of person, and I just love this photo too. And I actually wrote a tribute poem to Dad when he passed away. I used to have trouble reading this poem, but I'm getting used to it now. It's a bit sentimental.
Would you like me to read it for you?
Oh, I can. Oh, I'm pretty good now. I'll give it a go.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a picture of Dad sort of looking up at the house where he's brick veneering it. And I'm only trying to give you this idea of the picture so that you can understand where I'm coming from with the words. But it goes like this. And he's the one that introduced me to my love of the ocean, so that's what you'll understand when I read it. But another angel came today, picked up my dad, took him away. But I know he'll be looking from above, down on me with all his love. I really miss him. I miss him heaps. Just want to kiss him and have him for keeps. He meant so much. He taught me well. So have a good heart, but don't hide in a shell. So I'll always try to stay true to myself, say how I feel, not just sit on the shelf. So to my guardian angel, now looking over me, thanks for showing me this love of the sea.
That's wonderful. That's really, how long would it take you to write these poems, would you say?
This is the funny thing is I write them in about 4 or 5 minutes. I just get the idea of the picture and I go with it, and the words just seem to flow out. So they're not really they're spontaneous, and when I put them on Facebook, as a lot of my friends on Facebook will attest to, there are a lot of grammatical errors, and it's not until I grab them off and put them onto Word documents that I rework them and have them in the book without hopefully no grammar. Because
you're just writing them as you're thinking them, basically, and exactly. It's like you're thinking out loud.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're thinking out loud, and as you're doing that, you're just putting that pen to paper.
Exactly, yeah. That's about how it is. As simple as that.
Absolutely beautiful. And the way the book has been presented, Mark, is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you've got one here of an older gentleman and lady. I think it's beautiful. Would you like to read that one for us?
Yeah, this is a photo. It's a pretty grainy sort of old photo, and it sort of showed a sort of an age thing, and they were cuddling and they had a contented look on their face. So I wrote these words. We cuddled close, a soft embrace. We lived our lives and together we face that sweet tranquility of getting old, that sweet senility that we've been sold. I love you now and always will. I love the way our hearts are full of beautiful memories we shared together. Nothing can take them, nothing can sever. Our love for each other will never die. You've been my lover, I am your guy. And as we lay and reminisce, I'll always look forward to that goodnight kiss.
That's beautiful, and of course, the way you've got the embossed sort of photo behind the poem, it just gives that added touch to it. Now, do you actually recite your poems anywhere in public?
This is the first time.
Really? Well, you know what?
Rob was the first time I had a chance to write.
But you could do this very well because you've got that natural ability to just recite it and it comes out with feeling. Do you know what I'm saying? Your poems, just even listening to you here this morning, the way you are telling your poems, it is being recited from the heart. And that's what makes it genuine, because, you know, you could just close your eyes and you can picture what you are saying. There's just something about the way you've put that together, Mark, that I think is very special. And I think you should, in the future, try and get yourself the opportunity, you know, maybe to go to a club or something. You know, they have down at the Brass Monkey, they have like tell your storytelling.
Actually, I'm looking into some friends have been trying to coax me into having a go at doing that. Do it, yeah. Because look, truly, I can tell you now, you will have people that will be absolutely. They will be just sitting there in awe. There'll be people having tears. Give it a go, because I can tell you it will work. Oh, well,
it will work.
I'll think about it anyway.
No, look, give it a go. You might be surprised where it will take you.
Yeah.
You really will.
I'm sure that if I supply some tomatoes, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in there that would be willing to throw them. So
you don't need that.
Yeah.
You certainly don't need that.
There is a poem that I do like, because the picture it's a picture of some old hands.
Right.
And holding some baby hands, and that's the photo that inspired me, and I wrote these words to the picture, and it sort of sums up how I feel about what it meant.
Okay.
And it goes like this: I hold these tiny hands in mine, not a wrinkle, not a line. You have not long been in this world. I've so much knowledge in these hands are held. I've experienced life. Your life's just started. You see its joys long after I've departed. You'll see love and you'll see war. I'll see from above. I've been there before. I'll look in your eyes and their innocent gaze. I won't tell you no lies. You'll have those days when life is a challenge and all feels lost. But then there are days when those feelings are tossed. I hold these tiny little fingers, thinking of the memory and how it lingers. Want to hold them long, want to squeeze them gently. You're going to have a long life. It's elementary.
That's beautiful. You have got a talent there, Mark, and it's good that you have put this together in this book. And now I know you're doing more poetry. Is there a theme that you're sort of interested in doing with your poetry?
This is as I mentioned slightly before. I've actually got enough poems now to do 4 books.
Wow.
And the next one I want to do is Poems from the Sea, and it's actually based on all my friends who are local photographers that takes photos of the ocean in the Cronulla area.
Yeah.
And they've given me their permission to and their blessing to use their photos to be inspired to write.
How good's that? Have
actually, it's a pity I didn't bring any of those poems. It's in the early stages of collating them into a book.
Okay.
In further down the track, if it does come about, I'd love to come back and these are the ones that are given most passionate. This first book is just a credibility book for me, but the one that I'm going to be passionate about is the Poems from the Sea, because a lot of my friends who like to surf and love the ocean can relate to my poems, I hope. And
and like just looking at the book now, can people buy these books?
I've actually self-published the book. A friend at work, Chris Haigh, his name is, amazing guy. He actually is very good on Photoshop, and he photoshopped all the words into the pictures for me. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had that professional finish about the book.
It's absolutely beautiful.
And I've got to mention that I've kept it local. I could have gone overseas and obviously to China and got it done there, but a lot of the books that I've heard are falling apart because basically the guy I'm using is Cliff Lewis Printing at Tarrant Point. He's a local fellow, and he did an amazing job putting the book together with really with this perfect bind, which is the way the book is put.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's important to use a special glue that's very flexible because the pages don't fall out of the book like some people's have, you know. So
now this is your Facebook, is it?
Yes, that's the other thing. As I said, I got inspired to write by Facebook, and I've actually got a page called Diptails Poems from the Heart,
Oh, how
and
lovely.
that page gives you access to my normal page, which is Mark Depina, as in Dip, and that's where I've written virtually all my poems, and you can see them raw and uncut there, and I collate them into the book format so that I can actually present it in a more professional way. But these, as I said, they're all spontaneous
But they've been. Look, just the way the book's put together, the way the poems are put together, Mark, is absolutely it's beautiful. I've got to say, a compliment to you and to your your photography man who's
well. I just make a point here. These photos, being shared photos on Facebook, I've actually made the effort to get in contact with all the photographers that have these, and I've actually, at the back of the book, there's actually a thumbnail of acknowledgement of all the people whose works are there.
That's beautiful.
And I'm hoping that the ones I couldn't contact would see benefit in me presenting their work, because it's actually poems from the heart. And even though the pictures are there that inspired me, it's the poems that I've actually put in.
Of course.
But just one point here, Gloria. I'm sorry, but this picture that I'm getting permission about, talking about getting permission, there's a shot here of a picture of the guy who's in the army, and it's a baby boy on his army shirt and a pair of boots.
Yes, isn't that's just so touching, that.
When I actually looked at the photo, I actually wrote it as a girl. I thought it was a baby girl.
Right.
And when I actually seek to get permission to use the photograph, the lady said, I don't mind you using the photo, but can you get in contact with this lady that commissioned the photo, because her husband was killed in the Afghan war, and she was pregnant with this baby Landon. It was a boy. And she said, look, I don't mind you using but can you change one of the lines, which was, in a war with no meaning. And I understood what she was saying. She said, I don't want feel that my husband had died for nothing.
Yes.
So I changed the word on the fourth lines down, and I'll read that to you, because she gave me her blessing after I put the book to print, and I was absolutely paranoid that she was going to knock it back, and I'd have all these. I actually got 500 printed, and I didn't want to think that I'd wasted them. So she said in a email she loved it, and she was really appreciative.
Well, why don't you read this? It's a beautiful. Let me just tell everybody, it's a beautiful picture here. You've got a tabletop. You've got a frame of the soldier in the frame with his cap draped over the frame. You've got his jacket on the table, and lying on the jacket is the baby. Beside the baby is the soldier's boots, and in front of that is his diary. And now you're going to read the poem.
Yeah, so I just had a guess of what it meant, and it was pretty close. I had the gender wrong on the baby, but other than that, it was pretty close. And it goes like this: a photo, a shirt, and a pair of army boots. His daddy's now gone with 10,000 salutes. He lays there asleep, snuggles up to a memory of a daddy he'll never see, and a life that's so temporary. Too young to realise, oblivious to his loss, he now must be a soldier, he must be the boss. His photo, his shirt, and a pair of army boots. How many hurting, how many farewell salutes.
Well, the words and the photo say it all, don't they? That just sort of encompasses the past, the present, and the future all in one, and I think it's lovely the way you've put together these poems, Mark. And I'm just going to take a little break. And welcome back. You're tuned into Remember When and Reminiscing with Gloria G. And my mystery DJ today is Mark Depina. Sorry, Mark.
Just
Dip is his name. And of course, if you've been listening, he has been reciting some of the poetry that he certainly has written from the heart. And I've got to say, Dip, you say your poems with such feeling, and it comes across. And I find that it's they're very touching, moving. And many people could relate to what you're saying, because I guess you could say with your poems they tell a story, but they're simplistic, so they're easy to understand, easy to interpret. But the way you tell your story, you were saying, oh, you weren't sure how you're going. I can tell you now, you are doing a great job, and your poems, you know, I could just shut my eyes and listen and get the feeling that you are portraying through your voice, because you've written them, they're coming from the heart.
Oh, well, that's good.
They're beautiful. And I do hope that you will continue to pursue this, because look, people crave to hear this sort of thing. It's a storytelling in verse, and people love that. People do love that, and because it relates to life's, life. Like that story, the poem you just read about the soldier and the little boy, it's current life, but it's also, you could also embrace that with the First, Second World War right through to the present. So the way you've done your poetry, it actually encompasses the past, the present, and the future. But it's all heartfelt, and it's beautiful. So you've got another poem here that you're going to read for us.
Yeah, I might as well keep on going from the book, and I've actually got a few other ones that I've actually written since the book. I've found a site on the web. It's called Fan Story, and what it is, it's a site where all like-minded sort of, well, for want of a better word, poets in my case, and authors of books and novelists get together, and they actually critique each other's work and give you ratings and such. And I've had a go at a few poems and put them up, and I've had some good responses. So it gives me a bit of impetus to continue to write when people give you that sort of critique. So,
well, do you know what else? Could come from this is your poems being put to music.
Well, I was just going to say, I've actually tried a few of poems written in. There's a certain verse, the way you write. I've just found out on this Fan Story site that when you write in this sort of verse, which is called ABAB or ABAB, it's where line 1 rhymes with line 3, and line 2 rhymes with line 4, and then I've actually written it to 3 or 4 verses, and I've actually tried putting choruses, and I've actually got a sample of one of those attempts at putting it to music, well, having the words so that lyrically that it would go into a tune. And I have a friend that I'm hoping I've given the book to, that he has a look and has a go at writing a few melodies to them, and maybe one day we can do a thing where we get down to somewhere like the Monkey and do a few poems, and he does a few poems to music of the work, and then people can throw the tomatoes later. Well,
you can always. I remember once I actually I wrote a couple of poems when I was younger, and I put it to a song, and many years ago, I actually was able to sing it to friends that got married.
Unreal. Yeah.
And it was a poem about people getting married, but I actually put it to a musical song, and
actually,
it was fun.
It's funny with weddings and funerals. I've actually written about probably 4 or 5 eulogies for distribute to they've asked me to write, and they've given me some information and such,
right.
Which was fun. And,
well, that's good.
And actually, one of my friends on Facebook, who I've only sort of met through, but we had current common interests like surfing, and
right.
He lived on the Central Coast, and he actually invited me to his wedding, and he said, "You've got to write a little ditty about my wedding."
Course.
And I said, "I don't know anything. I haven't even met you yet, you know." And I only met him an hour before the wedding, and I just went round to his friends and asked him, "Give me a few facts about, some dirt on him." And I did that, and I got up on stage, and they thought I must have known him for years, but
isn't that great?
I told him I only just met him an hour ago, which was true.
Isn't that amazing?
So we've been friends ever since.
Isn't that terrific? Well, this one here, this is a lovely, I like the picture in this.
This is the bridge one? Yeah.
The bridge one. So would you like to do this one?
Yeah, I went to Europe a couple of years ago, and a lot of the bridges on the railings, they put a lot of locks, and usually they engrave the names of the two loved ones or the lovers in the lock, and they they throw the key away.
Oh,
and it's sort of pretty common along a lot of the bridges. And this picture is it's like a wintry sort of day, and there's a couple in the middle of the bridge, and they're kissing. And it's typical sort of
with the old gas lights.
Old gas lights,
Yes.
and you look along the picture of the railing, and you'll see a lot of the locks all along the railing, and it's pretty common in a lot of these bridges. They did it down at the Seacliff Bridge in, if you're familiar with Stanwell Park,
Right, yes.
And what was happening, the locks were rusting, and they were rusting the rails, and so the council had to cut them off.
Oh dear.
That sort of didn't get to stay there. But this is a poem that inspired me to write these words. So the picture inspired me to write these words. I'll just say, I build a bridge to join our heart. I build it strong so our love won't part. And even though the span is wide, it'll always bring me to your side. The water below may be rough and deep, but there's no need to take a leap. To reach you, I can see you there. I've built this bridge so we can share our special love which we have here. We meet in the middle, so have no fear. I'll always hold you in my heart. It's a bridge of love that will never part.
And you say you don't have a romantic bone in your body. Do you know what? I can tell you now that women would just absolutely, they'd be over the moon if they had a man write that sort of poetry to them.
Well, look,
Because
to tell you the truth, Gloria,
there is romance.
I work for Mills and Boon.
Do you?
No.
I was going to say, well, I don't know what you do, Dip. I don't know what you do. I thought you might have been a bookbinder or something.
Yeah, that's about as good as I can get, a bookbinder, yeah.
But truly, look, the way you put your poems together, there is definitely romance in the air, okay?
Yeah, well, this is only this book. The next one will be totally different.
The next one can be the Seaman's book.
But the next book is actually, as I said, inspired with a lot of emotion with the ocean. There's a lot of that sort of rhyming sort of.
But you know what? The ocean, I always think the ocean, it encompasses every mood that you can experience.
Oh, it's a great. If you don't know the sea in life, you're missing something. I think that anyone that doesn't live near the ocean and hasn't experienced the ocean.
I lived on Norfolk Island for 4 years, so I was surrounded by ocean. Everywhere you looked, it was ocean, because you're on this little island, right?
Yeah.
And it was fascinating just walking around and watching the sea at different times, different
every
times of the
different.
day,
it's like the sunsets.
Different times, you watch it and you could almost sense the mood, of the sea, when it got angry, when it was happy, when it was calm, and it was quite fascinating. And it was like, to me, the sea, it has mystery, it has adventure, it has everything that you could want.
With the next book, because of this formula of putting the words into the picture, I've decided that I'm going to do the whole book in pictures. I've got enough poems with pictures of local shots to do that, and I think people can relate by looking at the picture and reading the words when they're right in front. And
I think that's what makes this book so much more interesting, is because you look at the picture and, as you say, the words are talking about the picture.
Yeah, well, that's what I saw the photo, then wrote. I don't write the words and then find a picture to suit the words.
No.
I wouldn't have the inspiration to write unless I see the photo.
Someone gives you a photo and then you can sit down and that's where the words come from.
Yeah, pretty well.
That's great. Yeah.
But you were talking before about trying to put words to music.
Yes.
And I just played around with some words here and I put a chorus. So just bear with me and just see if anyone's out there's got a guitar and wants to use it, you're welcome to have a go. But
here's the chance, folks. We've got music and singer-songwriting in the making.
It's called I Believe in You and You Believe in Me. And it goes like this. I've travelled the world, seen a lot of places, and with these memories I held many dreams and many faces. But there is one thing I've always discovered, and I do believe this is true, that you'll always believe in me, because I'll always believe in you. I believe things will always happen for a very special reason. A serendipitous occasion is always very pleasant. But there is one thing, and I think it'll always be, that I believe in you and you believe in me. I believe our liaison was always really fate. Didn't really take much persuasion for you to reciprocate. But there are things in life, sure, where I still don't think I have a clue. But I know one thing's for sure, babe. I'll always believe in you. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. I believe in you. This is the bit that I get with the chorus.
So this is where you reckon we could, yes.
You've got to put this to music. So.
Of course.
But that's what I sort of try to listen to lyrics really hard in a lot of music now, where I never did it before. And I get the idea of how they structure the words to make it work. And sometimes the best songs are the most simplest words. They don't have to be very sort of complex. They're just
absolutely
simple.
Not. And that's what I was saying before. It's great because the way it's put together is in a basic simplistic form, but it tells that story. It tells that story, and that's what it is. Have you ever been to Songwriters in the Round?
No.
At the Menai Club, because
well, I'll tell you what I went the and this is from Robert. Rob actually put me onto it. Was this thing called the Acoustic Club? Yes. And they're Thursday, every second and fourth Thursday.
Yes, I know, because I often have the guests there as mystery DJs.
Oh, well, they actually, I read, is it
Janet?
Yeah, and she said to come down and she'd give me a spot to say. So that was the first place I actually got to say some of the poems, you know.
Excellent.
Admittedly, the audience wasn't very big and they were all above 70, but it was still fun.
Look, you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's going to be in that crowd.
Well, that's right.
You don't know. You could have a singer-songwriter in that crowd, right? And they might like the way you put the things together and say, look, I can put these words to music.
Well, it's funny because one of the main guests was a fellow named Marcus Sturrock, and he came from Western Australia, and he's doing a tour down here, and he plays a guitar where he does a lot of the percussion on the guitar when he hits the and he actually came up to me and said, look, I'd like to have a couple of goes at writing some poems writing some music off your poems. And so I gave him the book, obviously, where I get a chance to give a book out to people like that.
And guess what? You don't know where that's going to take you.
Well, yeah, that'd be great.
You don't know because, you know, it's the unknown, and you've got to make a start. You've made the start. You've produced your book. Now you're going on to doing another book. Maybe
just
another
don't
book.
tell my wife about those other books because she'll absolutely spew.
I hope you've got listeners listening in today.
Well, I actually put a spiel on Facebook to let people know that I was going to be on, and I said, at least you can't throw tomatoes at radio. And I said it's going to be uncut, it's going to be raw, and it's going to be impromptu, and there's no 7-second delay. So
that's exactly right.
What you see is what you get.
That's exactly right. Now I love this photo here. This one.
I love that photo too.
Explain to me the meaning of this photo, because it's fascinating. Will you tell the people?
Oh, well, you have a go, because like I say, these are all photos off Facebook, and obviously a lot of them are photoshopped photos. And what this photo is, it's an actual photo of a forest road, and it's portrayed as a woman. A woman's eyes becomes the forest, and I looked at the photo and just thought of as being Mother Nature.
It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? It's a little bit. I guess I'll try and describe it a little bit better in the fact that it's, as you say, it's a woman's face, and you have the eyes sort of at the top of the trees, and the nose coming down, sort of with the road coming down into her chin area, and it's absolutely. I think it's fascinating.
It is an interesting photo, and I just looked at it for probably 5 or 10 minutes one night. A lot of my work writing is usually about 11 till 12 o'clock. I call it the witching hour.
So that's your inspirational hour.
Pre-creative time, because it's usually after I'm a shift worker, and afternoon shift is probably my most. And a lot of people go, Dip, you're still up and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, yeah, because I've just come off shift. And I do find a lot of my work, they'll get up in the morning and they go, oh, Christ, he's written another 4 poems. You know? So and that's what happens. I just it becomes prolific, I suppose. suppose, but it's all fun.
So does what gives you that inspiration?
Well, look, to be honest, the fact that the people, all my friends that I've actually gained on Facebook, put up with me, and they seem to enjoy me writing. Although I think that they see 1,000 notifications and go, "Oh, crikey, I've had enough of this." But on saying that, they've been very inspiration. They've been very encouraging, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been doing this.
So someone said, "Oh, I've got a great photograph. I'm going to give it to you, and I want you to write something."
Yeah, well, it's actually happened a few times.
So that's basically what happens. Someone, you know, you'll get a photograph and you'll look at it, and then that gives you the thought, oh, okay, I could write a poem about this or about that, and then off you go. Yeah,
that's exactly how it is. And it just, the words just sort of come to my head, and look, and honestly, most of the words here, they're one go. I don't sort of go, I'll change that. I only ever change them after I've actually had them on there for a while, and then the grammar Nazis come along and say, look, you've missed a dot there or a comma here, and I go, well, I'll fix it.
Sure.
But it's all in fun when we have a go at each other, but that's what's good about
good. All right, well, let's have this one.
Okay. So as Gloria has painted the picture, it goes like this. I watch over you along this path of life. I am your mother. Cherish me like your wife. I have eyes in the forest. I have a face on your path. I'll be watching for the aftermath. Please treat me with the respect I deserve. If you come up face to face, never alter, never swerve. Take me head on, embrace and protect, 'cause if we're going to last, I need this respect. I am Mother Nature. I am etched in this track. Love me, caress me, and I'll always love you back.
That's lovely. Yeah, that's lovely, and just the way it you could say that is Mother Nature watching over us all.
Yeah, well, that's the inspiration I got from it. Yeah.
Now you, I think you did you write some of these for Mother's Day?
What happened? This book was actually put together about 3 days before Valentine's Day. Hence the heart bit and everything.
Yes.
But what I found was a lot of the friends bought for Mother's Day presents. I actually got 500 printed, and I've actually sold 400.
Wow.
I say sold 400. I had a few situations where like cousins and uncles and aunties.
Okay.
How do you charge them? So I'm a bit out of pocket, but it's been a great experience.
So if people would like to buy your book,
yeah, well,
can you give them a?
At the moment, it's from the back of the car. Basically, I've just sort of down to 70 or 80 books left. And
so you don't have a website that they can go on to?
Oh, well, it'd just be Facebook. It would be the site at the moment. But
can you tell them what it is?
Yeah, it's facebook.com stroke diptails.
/diptails.
Yeah, and that will give you to my site. And basically, if you just say that I'll get down.
So how much do your books?
Right, it's the cost of the printing at the moment. It's just $25, and that's. When you look at the book, it's with all the photos.
Beautiful.
So I'm it's only just for credibility. I don't want to make any money at the moment until.
You know what? This is the sort of book that would make a perfect coffee table book.
Well, do you know why that size is A4 landscape? Because it won't fit into a standard bookshelf.
No,
and the idea is it forces you to put it on the coffee table. But that's the idea.
It is. It's beautifully presented. Poems from the heart with the red rose on the front, and the book is beautifully presented. That's the sort of book that people could pick up anywhere they go, look through it, and they'd start to read it. And I think you'd find they go, oh, look at this poem, and read the next poem.
Yeah.
And this would make a perfect coffee table book for any home.
When I had it published and I actually got it printed, I actually had a book launch down at my local kiosk. I go to nearly every time I have off because the shift work, I go to Cronulla Kiosk, which is the North Cronulla Kiosk, Lynn and Tony's kiosk, and they actually went to the trouble of helping me promote the book, and they had a big spot in the corner of the kiosk with the roses and all that, and they got right behind me, and so I'm indebted to them for doing that for me, because if anyone wants to get the book, you can pretty well buy it from down there, because I usually am sitting down there having a coffee down at the kiosk every morning, and a lot of my friends have actually, as I said, 400 of those books sold would be Facebook friends, friends from work, and friends from the beach.
Well, a little plug, folks. If you would like perhaps to have a poem written about yourself, hop down there to the kiosk.
Jeez, that's a big ask.
Hop down there to the kiosk. Introduce yourself to Dip. Tell them that you've heard Dip's poems on Gloria's Remember When and Reminiscing on 2SSR FM 99.7.
I just want to say one thing about that. Every Thursday for about 6 years, there was an old lady came down to the kiosk, and she sat there, and I used to look at her, and she was probably about 89, 90, and she'd have the same a salad roll and a coffee. And one day it was raining and there was no seats, and I said, look, can you mind if I share your seat? And she told me her life story. So I wrote a poem about her story. And
there you go.
I gave it to her, and I wasn't there the day but Tony gave it to her, and she sat there and she started to cry about it. So
there you go. Yes, how interesting is that? Look, that and when you think about it, songs, poems, they are about people's life story.
Yeah.
When you think about it, even everything that you've got in here, it's a story. It's relating a story about something. Now, I'm
just at the back here, just on that, to summarise the whole book, I suppose, I've written this little poem, which sort of is on the back cover of, when you get a novel or something, and you want to know what's in the book, they usually have a little short snippet. So the poem on the back says, if I've touched your heart, if I've touched your soul, then right from the start I've already achieved my goal. It's been a labour of love, and I've loved every minute. It's been a labour of love, and I'm glad you've been in it. Poems from the heart are just what they are. They express how I feel about my life so far. Without you being a part of this journey I'm on, my life would not be complete. The sun would not have shone. So I'll leave you with this line that I said right from the start. The words all come so easy when they are poems from the heart.
And when it's read like that, well, it makes it so much better, because it is read and recited from the heart.
Well, when I heard my voice on Rob's thing, I absolutely hated it. So you're just being nice, because I know my voice sounds like a squeal.
No, I'm not. It's no. I've got to say, I think I'll be getting a copy of this book and putting it on my coffee table. I can tell you now, because
thanks very much, and thanks for your time, Gloria. It's been great. I really appreciate you giving me this time.
I want to get you back when you get your next book up.
Oh, that'd be great.
I want to get you back when you have the C book.
Yeah,
I would like
fantastic.
to have that, because I think we're in for a real treat with a lot of the poems that you've got. Now, thank you for coming in today, Dip. And have you got a favourite one that you would like to finish up with?
Oh, that's a good point. You got me in a spot, but I'll read this one. I found this site called Fan Story, as I said, and I entered a few of my poems, and this one everyone seemed to like this one. It's probably a love lost, actually, and it goes like this. Empty feelings in my heart bring me such emotion. I guess I knew right from the start this was a love in time and motion. Soft tears rolling down my face, we hold each other tight. I savour all this warm embrace, wrapped up in this lover's delight. Gently let me down from here, the fall is so devastating. Hold me till I have no fear of what I'm anticipating. Throw your arms back around me, I'm not handling this situation. I need your charm, I make this plea, I can't handle this devastation. When a love that is so strong becomes so disenchanted, give it time, I know we belong, let's not take it all for granted. Lovers might come and lovers might go, and some lovers last forever. I really wanted this love to grow, I never wanted it to sever.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely. Now, I think there is one in the book. I think you've got to give me one more in the book that is your absolute favourite.
Oh, okay.
What about the rainbow one? I think that's a great one.
Yeah, actually, you know, that a friend of mine's little boy who's only 12, he actually loves this poem. And it's funny how people pick a poem that they actually relate to. I mean, there's some quirky ones, the one with the owls.
Yes.
The owl love. But the one you're talking about, I think, is the Rainbow Connection one.
Yes.
And it's a pity that there's not video here, because then people can actually really relate to
Of
the
course.
picture tells 1,000 words. Yeah, this one here, it's just a picture. In actual fact, my mate Chris at work, who's Photoshop genius, I call him, he actually, it's a boat. I don't know if you ever see that movie, The Shawshank Redemption, and there was a picture of the boat at the end. Well, this is a picture of the ocean, and it's a boat just washed up on. It's an old sort of fishing boat.
But look at the name on the boat.
And on the boat, it actually had Deb 3, and he photoshopped it to Dip Free, and I was wrapped with that. And so I looked at the photo. It's a rainbow across the ocean that arches the boat, and it's just very small, very short little words, but it goes like this. They say that every rainbow has a pot of gold with a curve of 7 colours. Its beauty will unfold. It's fate that brought me to you. I do believe it's true. I found that gold at the end of the rainbow, and I do believe it's you.
Yes, isn't that terrific? And, you know, that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, even my sister, she still says today, I'm always reaching for that pot of gold at the base of the rainbow.
Yeah, that was the one I was saying about the owls. Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got time. You can do that. We'll do that one, and then we'll finish up. So,
as I said, the photos that I grabbed off Facebook, there's some amazing photographers.
What a beautiful photo of the owls.
It's I don't know if it's Photoshop, but I'm pretty sure that's how owls are. And it's 2 barn owls, and they're virtually, one's kissing the other, and you know the face of an owl, they just look so content, and they've got this little quirky little nose, and they're both sitting on a rock, and they're virtually caressing and cuddling, and as if he's whispering in the other owl's ear. And so if you've got to remember how I've written this, I've played on the words here, but it's just very short. It goes like this: owl love is forever, owl love is real, it's always a hoot, you know how I feel. We sleep through the day, make love in the night, this is our love, it's pure delight. And
isn't that wonderful? Well, I want to say thank you so much, Dip, for coming in, and I will be hoping to get you back again. I really appreciate the time you've given me, because it's the first exposure of this length of time. It's fantastic. I hope and I just hope all my friends out there don't put too much bag on me there. No, look, I think it's wonderful, and absolutely beautiful poetry, and keep up the good work, because it really is excellent work.